Buddy, put that thing back in its holster. We haven't gone anywhere.
I don't understand.
Check out the MichaelDukesShow.com for information on how to get access to the podcast.
Welcome to the party, pal.
The Michael Dukes Show.
The greed and the entitlement is astounding to me.
What more could you want from a low-budget radio program?
This is a dumpster fire.
That was just BS.
It is time to get a new perspective.
We know just what you need, and we've got just the cure. Open wide and prepare for a steaming hot cup of freedom.
I just don't fathom it.
The Michael Dukes Show, streaming live across the world.
Live around the world on the internet at MichaelDukesShow.com and across the great state of Alaska on this, your favorite radio station and or FM translator. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the program. It is just another beautiful, it was a beautiful day. It was wow. Just yesterday was just unbelievably gorgeous. And here we are ready to go for another beautiful day down here on top of the world in Homer, Alaska. I hope you're ready for this, the beautiful Monday here on the big radio program. Thank you for coming in and joining us today. Well, it's just you and me, my friends, just you and me and a bunch of headlines from around the state, including the seventh, yes, count it, seventh candidate for the Alaska governor's race. And there's going to be 8 more, maybe 9 more. 8 more, 2 more. So maybe there'll be an 8th one. Maybe there'll be a 9th one. There could be 10. That's, this is just all ostensibly on the Republican side of the equation here. This thing's about to get real. It's about to get real. So we've got a lot of headlines and a lot of things to talk about and discuss this morning with you. I'm also going to go ahead and open up the phone lines this morning because why not? Why not? We'll open up the phone lines and let you sound off this morning on. Well, I guess on anything. I was going to say it should be the gubernatorial race, but I'm easy. Let's talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about this morning as well. The number to call is 319-527-3864. 319-527-3864. If you want to sound off this morning and chat with us here on the program, we'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Again, one more time, 319-527-3864. So feel free to ring us up and give us your thoughts on things that are happening around the state. And we'd just love to get your participation on the program here this morning. All right, so some of the things that happened over the weekend, we've got a bunch of different things. We're going to touch base on the continued potential for budget cuts. There was a reversal in the federal funding freeze as well. That's going to have some ramifications. We'll talk about that federal funding freeze for education. We've got the piece from a couple of Fairbanks school board members that I want to chat about just a little bit as well. We'll also dive into the question as to whether or not Forrest Dunbar is violating federal law. And I think, I don't know if it's federal law, the UCMJ. I'm just not sure. Article 88. I'm sure that's a UCMJ code, which is the Uniform Code of Military Justice. We'll talk about that. And of course, as I mentioned here just a second ago, the seventh candidate the seventh candidate throws their hat into the ring for the governor's race, with more on the way. It's about to happen. You could see it. It's about to get super exciting here in just a few days on this. So we're going to be diving into all this and covering this as well. Don't forget, there's several ways you can participate on the program this morning if you would like to. The phone number is just one of them. If you want to be part of the conversation both on and off the air, you can join us in the chat room. We have a simulcast of the radio show going up on Facebook and on YouTube and on Rumble. And so you can go out there to any of those locations and join us and find us there. Probably the easiest one is facebook.com/Michael Duke Show/live. That's probably the easiest one to get to. And you can be part of the conversation there as well with just, I don't know, you, me, and 50 of our closest friends. I don't know how many are in there yet, but usually 50 or 60 folks join us to conversate and have discussions and everything else, both on and off the air. So if you want to be part of that, feel free to jump on board and slinger in, and we'll get things squared away there as well. Okay, so 319-527-3864. That's where we're ready to rock and roll. Okay. So I guess we'll start with the big headline first. And that is, of course, that Palmer Senator Shelley Hughes is now the 7th Republican to enter the race for the 2026 governor's mansion. She made the announcement last week, and she said in a written statement, she said we're on the verge of big new things in Alaska. And if we do this right, I have no doubt the sun will be rising on our great state in a game-changing way. And she is she's running out of her seat in the Senate. Now it's interesting because she said she hasn't decided whether or not she's going to leave the seat while she runs, as Governor Dunleavy did when he ran for governor. Now, I don't remember, right off the top of my head, I don't remember whether or not she is fully required to do that up to a certain point. But let me just say this. It's going to be interesting to see where it goes from here. Aside from anything else, her chances as governor, her platform, anything else, it does silence a conservative voice on the in the Senate, because nobody else has made any kind of move. She had run unopposed in the last race, and I don't know if anybody else is ready to jump in there and actually do it. If she did resign, she would the governor would then have to pick her replacement, and then that replacement would have to be confirmed by the Senate's 10 other Republicans, including all those Republicans that absolutely hate the conservative movement, and all the other Republicans that put Shelley in a corner last go around. So we're talking about the Bert Stedmans, the Gary Stevens, etc. Kathy Giesels. So that would be an interesting That would be because it's evenly split, 5 and 5. There are 5 members who are part of the majority caucus and 5 members who are part of the minority caucus. So that's the 10 senators overall. So she said it's a decision that she's going to make later in the year as to whether or not she's going to resign from her seat in the meanwhile. But she says it is a real possibility. She said it's a decision I'll make later in the year, but it's a real possibility. So we'll see. And so, you know, I don't know. Now, Shelley's district is pretty conservative. So it will be, it'll be interesting if anybody else is going to try and put something, if anybody else is going to try and take that seat, or if the Democrats want to try and move into that race. I don't know if they would have much of a chance in that specific district, but stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened. And that, my friends, makes 7 candidates for on the Republican side for the governor's office, including Lieutenant Governor Nancy Dahlstrom, former Fairbanks Senator Click Bishop, of course, Bernadette Wilson that we've had on the program here. There's an Anchorage podiatrist named Matt Hyalola, and an guy from Angoon named James Parkin, and I'm missing one. Who's the other one? Oh, Mayor Edna DeVries from the Matsu. So that's the previous 6. And now you've added Shelley to the mix. Of course, there were other rumblings. We all heard about some of the other rumblings that were going around. Treg Taylor was one name that was dropped, and Adam Crum, who is the Commissioner of Revenue, or oops, he was. Because according to reports, Crum has now put in his letter of resignation as the Commissioner of Revenue, and he is going to resign effective August the 8th, so 10 days from now. And this is all basically going back to what he said, to what's being said before, is that he has come for, he's focusing on higher office. And this has been rumbling around rumbling around the halls of Juneau for months at this point, that he was going to be running for the governor's race. Now, there's no official announcement yet, but when he was asked by the ADN if he was leaving the administration in order to run for office, he said in a text message that he had accomplished a lot to put Alaska on sound economic footing. And he said, I'll have a formal statement on my last day, August the 8th, which, he's running for the governor's office. So that's number 8. And then it's been noted that Treg Taylor is out and about, and he is pushing a lot of he's been doing a lot of town hall meetings and meet and greets, and I mean things that you would normally associate with somebody who is either running for office or about to run for office. So that's all going on as well. So it's 7, it's about to be 9, and then if we get the I don't know. I don't think that Machicki is going to run. That was one of the rumors that's been going around for the last 2 years. And I don't see Natasha coming out of retirement. Those are the other 2 big names that were thrown about out there. But I mean, even at 10, even at 9, that's a lot of names. And the Democrats have yet to put up, or no, wait, they did. They put up one name last week, didn't they? There was one, and I don't recall what it was, but there was one name yesterday that got put up last week that got put up that the Democrats are putting out there. So I guess we'll see. Again, this is the ranked choice. This is the jungle primary component of ranked choice voting, with 9 up to, I guess, potentially now 9 different candidates ready to rock and roll. And I don't know. I'm just, I'm not super excited about any of them at this point. And we got time. We got time for them to excite me. We got time for that. There's been a lot of chatter. There's been some talk, but I don't know. And some of them I just don't know anything about. So I think we're going to have to do our homework here and roll back our sleeves and get into it. Yeah, no, we're going to get into that. LD just made a great comment. We're going to continue on. So anyway, again, if you want to sound off on it, what do you think? I mean, I guess that's my big question here. What do you think about the fleet of candidates that are out there right now on the Republican ticket? Which one? I mean, which one are there any of them that you're super excited about? Are there any of them that you're like, oh, that's great, that's exactly, or is it kind of more like, meh? I want to know what's your take on this? And somebody in the chat room just said, I keep hearing Mary Peltola is running for governor. I don't think so, but stranger things have happened. We'll continue with this here in just a moment. Back with more. If you want to sound off, I'd love to hear you. 319-527-3864. 319-527-3864. We'll be back. The Michael Duke Show. Common sense, liberty-based, free thinking radio.
If you missed the show, you can listen to it on your time with Dukes On Demand. Oh, and it's free. Like America used to be. Streaming live every weekday morning on Facebook Live and MichaelDukesShow.com.
Okay. Yeah, da 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 da. A ding a ding, sweet lovers love. Hey, how you guys doing? You guys ready to go? You guys ready to do your thing? Sorry, I'm moving some stuff around over here, getting stuff squared away. All right. So, how was your weekend? Mine was great. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm scrolling through here. Yeah, you guys are a little bit ahead of me here. Fat Ray says, so Shelley is the 7th idiot to split the vote, ensuring Mary Peltola wins and we get more taxes, more communism. I don't know is Mary Peltola is going to run in this race. She might, but remember, she's in the middle of this big court battle right now. I don't know. We'll see. Terry says there's somebody waiting in the wings for Shelley's. There's someone in the wings for Shelley's seat. I don't know who that is. I don't know. Let's see here. Good morning. Rick says Shelley is a great person, but very soft spoken. We need a governor that will call out certain legislators on their stupid spending habits. Yeah. Chris says that I'm assuming he's talking about Adam Crum, has been the governor's pet project from day one. Yeah, I mean, he's kind of, I mean, I don't know what his background is, but he's kind of, bounced all over the place from the Department of Health and Social Services up to the Department of Revenue. That seemed like a weird lateral sling to me. But, I mean, the governor obviously likes him. LD Howard says, we're on sound economic footing. Oof, news to me. Rick says, you're not excited? Put your name in. Oh, thanks. I had a bar of soap earlier. It was delicious. Let's see. Chris said the same thing. She keeps hearing that Mary Peltola is going to run for governor. You hear that, but I don't see the groundwork being laid for that. But again, we're 13 months out from the primary. So we'll see. Bernadette, she seems very vocal, says Rick. Yeah, well, there you go. Let's see. Brian says, I honestly have election fatigue. And mostly ignoring these people. Yeah. Yeah. Frank said, I would disagree about Shelley being great. She was one of the ringleaders against David Eastman. She's not afraid to eat her own. Well, neither is Eastman. Eastman was not afraid to basically just have his people go after pretty much anybody that stood against something that he didn't want to have happen. So, I mean, that's to me, that's neither here or there. Oh, Rick said, if he wasn't excited, he said, I can file, put my name in there. He said, on second thought, that wouldn't excite you, but it would excite us. You guys would hate it. Hate it. All right. She already has a slogan. Peltola has a slogan, I think is what Fat Ray's talking about. What's the slogan? I want to hear what I want to hear what the slogan is, Fat Ray. Hit me with it. All right, here we go. Getting ready to rejoin the radio. We are up against it. The Michael Duke Show, Common Sense, Liberty-Based Free Thinking Radio.
Public enema number one. Oh, wait, sorry. Public enemy number one, which makes more sense. On the other hand, he's a little bit of a pain in the Michael Duke Show.
Okay, there's a debate going on in the chat room as to whether or not Mary Peltola is going to get in the race, and I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I don't. Well, I would have thought that she would have positioned herself already if she has, but she seems like she's got a lot of other stuff going on, a lot of other stuff on her plate. Although Fat Ray just did say that she's already out there using Justin Trudeau's Better Way campaign slogan. I guess there's better. She said she'll do exactly what he did. Respond to every tough question with sunny days, better ways ahead. Which is, a fancy way of saying hope is not a plan. Hope is not a plan. So, I mean, what's your take? Are any of these candidates exciting for you? And no, I'm not running for governor. Rick is trying to get me to no. And so let's dissect what we got here. Let's just for a minute. Let's dissect what we got. So we we start out with Lieutenant Governor Nancy Dahlstrom. I'm sorry. What was it? Was it going on? No. Again, she's a nice lady. I mean, I've never talked to her. She didn't appear on the program. She wouldn't come on the program before. I mean, she's just been, she's been, I guess, non-offensive and non-entity. I will say that I was very pleased when she pulled out of the race to leave Begich facing off against Peltola alone. I thought that took some chutzpah. So she's got that going for her. But other than that, I can't name a single thing that she did as a senator, or excuse me, as a legislator. And the only thing that I can name that she's done as a lieutenant governor is sit on the Shabaka report. So not necessarily a positive. I mean, I guess that goes without saying. Not necessarily a positive, but yeah, there's just nothing excite me. Give me a reason to want to get up out of the chair and go to the voting booth. And again, nice lady, but just doesn't seem to have it there. Then you've got Click Bishop. And that's a full-on nope from me. I mean, like a full-on nope, not going to happen. I'm not going to, there's no way. This guy is, has done everything in his power to, I think, undermine the fiscal policy working group's plan. He stood in the way of many other, ideas that I thought were good. And he's, essentially, he's basically an unpaid representative for the state employee union. Like everything that he does falls in that direction. So, I mean, when I look at this thing and I see, Republican in name only, I think Bishop definitely fits that mold of if you held up some, what would be here, which one of these do you think fits the Republican name? He would not be on the list. So that's a full-on nope from me. Bernadette Wilson, again, she's been the most vocal. She's appeared on the program already a couple times, and I like what she has to say about certain things. I think there's a lot of talk and a lot of lofty ideals, but there's not a lot of, up until now, there has not been a lot of, okay, how do we get there? You've got great ideas. You're saying the right things, but explain to me in small words, talk to me like I'm 5, right? Explain to me in small words how you're going to get from here to there. I think that's an important, we can't just have sound bites, because that's what we got with Dunleavy, was just a soundbite governor. He said the right things and did all, and then when the rubber met the road, there was a whole lot of crickets. Mayor Edna DeVries. Now, I know she's got a pretty solid conservative track record in the Matsu, but I don't know. I don't yet know where she stands on any of this. She doesn't have the name recognition that I think the previous 3 candidates plus Shelley have. That doesn't necessarily mean it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just I don't, know that much about her. And then, of course, the last 2, the doctor from Anchorage, he's a podiatrist, Matt Hayalala. Again, don't know anything, no name recognition, don't know anything about him. And then an Angoon resident named James Parkin. So, and quite honestly, I didn't even really know that Hayalala and Parkin were running. So this is the first time. In fact, Hayalala actually was in the Progress Day parades down in Soldotna this weekend. That was his first big campaign kickoff event, was participating in the parade down in Soldotna. And so that, that's it. There is nothing here that's making me want to just leap out of my chair and go, that's the one. That's the one I want. Right? I mean, right now, again, the forerunner is Bernadette Wilson based on the talkie-talkie. But what about the walkie-walkie? And I really like Shelley Hughes. I like her as a person. I think she's done a lot of good work in there. But there are times when Shelley and I have been at odds over certain things, and it has to do with the, I guess I would say the, I don't want to be too harsh here. The politics of appeasement, maybe. She's tried to stick to her principles, but it sometimes it seems like there's some wishy-washiness going on as far as who's dealing with what in regards to specific types of fights and where to take a stand on it. She and I guess that's a better way to put it. She is taking a stand on things that I would disagree with, and not taking a stand on things that I think she should have. That's probably a better way to put it. She's probably one of the most, if not the most conservative candidate out there. Although, again, Bernadette's talk has been very conservative and very strong, which is, I think, something that we're going to need in a governor moving forward. I think we're going to need that in a governor moving forward. And I just don't know. I'm wondering if this is just if I'm wondering if losing Shelley in the Senate is worth picking her up as governor. Let's play the what if game. So what if she wins? She becomes governor of a split legislature that has a democratically led majority. We don't know who would pick up her seat. We don't know who would run for that seat and who would win. We know that the governor would have to appoint the first contender, but then they would have to be confirmed by the Senate with the 10 Republicans there. And I think it's safe to say that half of the Republicans in the Senate would not be enthusiastic about replacing Shelley with somebody who is as conservative as Shelley is. So you've already set yourself up for one for one battle there that you may or may not win. And then you still, in the end, even if you were able to fill her spot with somebody who had her exact, same philosophies and her exact same political bent, you've still now got a governor who is facing a democratically led legislature. How does that move the needle? I mean, in that regard. And again, Shelley is really the only, well, I guess I would say not the only, but she is one of the only known quantities in this race. She's in the legislature. She's fighting the fight. She's one of the hardest working people out there. I know. Okay. When it comes to this kind of stuff, this woman lives and breathes this stuff day in and day out. So I don't know if I really want to lose her as a voice in the Senate versus being the governor, because again, sometimes she's just too nice. Sometimes she's just too politically correct. She doesn't want to offend anyone. And you know what I want in the governor's mansion? I want somebody who's going to make noise, who's going to rock the boat. I want somebody who's going to call a spade a spade. I want somebody who's going to call out, bad behavior by name. That's what I want. I want somebody who's going to, maybe make a bit of a mess. And, as much as I like Shelley and as conservative as she is, I don't know if that's in her DNA. And so do I want to give up a conservative voice in the Senate for the possibility of that happening? I don't know. I mean, this is all just speculation at this point. I've reached out to Shelley over the weekend and asked her to appear on the show so that we could talk about it. And we'll see. We'll see what she has to say about this. But here's what I'm looking for in a gubernatorial candidate. I'm looking for somebody who's going to go in there and, again, make a mess. Who's going to make people uncomfortable. Who's going to ask the hard questions. This, and I'm going to tell you right now, Adam Crum, because we didn't even get into Adam Crum and Treg Taylor, right? When I went through the list of candidates, like, are you excited about these candidates? Adam Crum, no, I'm not interested in having a bureaucrat be governor. And Treg Taylor, I don't really know him from Adam, but, I'm not really interested in having an attorney be governor either right now. I just, nothing against, I'm looking for somebody who's going to go in there and make an absolute just dog's breakfast of the play. I just want him to go in there and just stir things up. Because somebody's got to be laying down some hard truths here. And that on top of the fact, by the way, that Adam Crum was like, he sent that text message that said that, he had accomplished a lot to put Alaska on sound economic footing. And I'm like, what? What? Sound economic footing? A disruptor. Thank you, Kevin. Kevin just said, a disruptor. That's what I want. I want a disruptor that would go in there. David says, it sounds like you want a Trump-like candidate. Well, in some ways, yes. Just without some of the name calling. You know what I mean? But yeah, a disruptor. That's what I want. A disruptor in the governor's mansion. All right, we got to go. We'll continue. The Michael Duke Show. Common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. We got more coming up. And the phone lines are open. You guys can sound off on this or anything else on this Monday. We'll talk about whatever you want. 319-527-3864. 319-527-3864. Back with more right after this.
What is that?
Common sense. Regularly heard on American radio. Michael Duke Show. Radio.
Okay. Ever wonder why you only have 4 likes now, Mike? Not really. Not really. How to fix it and get at least 25. You know how to get 25 likes, Henry? By putting your comment on the screen. That's only 6 likes from where I'm at right now. I suppose I could get 25 likes. Let's see here. I'm scrolling back. I'm scrolling backwards here. Again, yes. David, sounds like you want a Trump-like candidate. In some ways, yes. In some ways, yes. David says, this field of candidates really hasn't blown me away in awe. It's quite early. I'm hoping for a solid candidate to galvanize. We need a Kelly Shabaka or a Mike Shower. That's who we need. I mean, I would love for that to happen. Shelley is pro-life. I like that a lot. Yeah, no, can you imagine, says Chris, a Republican Senate voting against a Republican appointment? Unfortunately, I can. These people have shown that they don't really care. They don't really care about what the majority of they feel very confident in their voting bloc. Frank says, but the current Senate is democratically led with or without Shelley. Yes, I know, but we could lose a very what I would consider to be a solid conservative voice. LD says, what we're seeing in Alaska, that's a big block, isn't it? Especially in the Republican Party, is that no one can really agree on what the party platform is. And everyone holds on to their 1 or 2 points, and they think what it should be instead of the whole picture and what it means to be a conservative or Republican. That's why we watch time after time our legislature fracture between rhinos and true conservatives, and we lose the majority. We see the same thing that frequently in SCC meetings, where it all ends up being is infighting. Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry, I'm going backwards here to see if there's anything else that I really missed. The real question, says Kevin, is how many lieutenant governor candidates are going to drain Republicans from the legislature? Oh, really? That's a question? I just don't see lieutenant governors being a huge leaping board. Do you? There's not a whole lot of lieutenant gubernatorial candidates who've made the transition to governor. I don't know why you'd want to be the lieutenant governor at this point. Okay. I'm going through here. Blah, 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 blah. Who was the last impressive lieutenant governor? That's a good question. Maybe Edna DeVries, says Jeannie. Again, maybe. I need to talk to Edna. We're going to reach out to her and have her on the program to talk about these things. Kevin says this is probably why the Dems are not too worried about naming a candidate, because we're all so busy circling the wagons and shooting inwards. Maybe. Rick says, explain to me why it always seems there's a boatload of Republicans running and only 1 or 2 Democrats. And Skeet says, because Dems are a hive mind and Republicans are independent thinkers. I mean, that goes back to what I was saying earlier. One is the party of kumbaya, communal, let's all come together. And the other is rugged individualists who don't necessarily always play well with others. That's why we always seem to have that, for sure. Frank says Delana Johnson could move to the Senate. I like Delana, but she's not as conservative as Shelley is. She could get elected, probably. Shower is too dunce for governor, says Chris. Wow. Tell me how you really feel, Chris. Let's see. Going to be rid of it. If they cared about that, they would be in the party. Most of them are not in the party because they do not want the contentiousness. Laura Reinbold would really spice things up. I would agree with that, but I don't know if she's electable. That's the problem. She got a lot of baggage. Not that I don't think that she could. I mean, she would have some good policies, and she'd probably be a bit of a disruptor for sure. And I don't know. It's Yeah, but I mean, why would you want to be a lieutenant? Going back to Kevin's comment, why would you want to be a lieutenant governor? I don't understand. I don't understand that at all. All right, here we go.
The Michael Duke Show. Not your daddy. Wait, sorry. Not your daddy? Ooh, not your daddy's talk radio. Whew. I was scared for a second. Thought we were going down. Here's Michael Dukes and the show.
Yeah, so there's one thing I hadn't thought of. Thank you, Kevin. Kevin just said Kathy Tilton could move to the Senate. So that'd be a strong voice. But then again, now we got the political shuffle. Who takes Kathy's place in that regard? I don't know. You got to have somebody waiting in the wings for something like this to happen. And I just I don't know what. And Kevin also made a comment about the number of people who would be. He said one of the things we have to worry. I'm scrolling backwards here to get his comment so I don't paraphrase it poorly, because I'm always bad at paraphrasing poorly. He said something about, now you have to worry about all the legislatures. Here you go. The real question is how many lieutenant governor candidates are going to drain Republicans from the legislature? How many legislators are going to leave to run for lieutenant governor with 9 potentially more candidates up on the ticket? Who's gonna now? And my question was, why would you want to be lieutenant governor? I can't think of a single instance at this point, right off the top of my head, where a lieutenant governor was catapulted up into it's not like the VP, right, where the vice president is almost guaranteed to be on the ticket when the president terms out and gets a potential shot at the White House. I mean, it's just I can't remember if a lieutenant governor actually ever catapulted from the lieutenant governor's position to the governor's position. And I'm like, why would you want to be lieutenant governor, other than, I guess, you're affirming a legacy or something? But then Kevin said at the very end here, he said, to help the governor get elected. That's why you'd want to be lieutenant governor. To help the governor get elected. Well, that's great. I mean, that's great. Good call. Good idea. But what does it do? What does it do to the makeup of the legislature when we start to empty it out, trying to get our preferred candidate on the ballot? That's just my question. Look, I'm not running for office. I have no intention of running for office ever again. I feel like we could probably do a lot more. I feel like we could probably do a lot more just on the outside looking in, right? And just, being able to call balls and strikes from outside the playing field. But, and I'm not trying to chastise some of these people, but I just start to look at it and we start saying, man, 7, 8, 9, 10 different candidates, each with their own. I mean, and if nobody's just really lighting my fuse right off the bat, does it help or does it hurt? I guess is the question. Does it help or does it hurt to drain down candidates who are already in the job, doing good work on the floors of the House or the Senate? And does it help to get that to take them out and then potentially get somebody who maybe as stalwart as they are, maybe, especially in the case of the Senate, maybe as stalwart as they are? And I just, I gotta wonder, does that make sense? I mean, Shelley Hughes running for governor was not on my bingo card for right now. And granted, I haven't been paying that close of attention to what some of the more, outside of kind of some of the the high visibility players were doing. That was not something that I was really thinking was jumping forward. Now, it made sense as soon as I saw that she was making some kind of announcement. I went like, oh, Shelley must be running for governor. Because I had heard something about this, I don't know, 6 months, 8 months, a year ago. And I thought, well, maybe one day. But the question again is the trade-off. To lose a sitting senator who's got tons of institutional knowledge, knows how the game is played, knows where the bodies are buried, yada, yada, yada. Do we, to go be governor and then potentially not fill that position and then not be as strident as I would like a governor's I want a disruptor. That's a great word. Thank you, Kevin Hall. Kevin was in the chat room and he said that you want a disruptor. Yes, I want a disruptor. And as conservative and as strong and as strident as Shelley is, there's still a lot of kind of go along to get along to, not want to ruffle anybody's feathers kind of thing. I want to ruffle some feathers. I mean, I want to grab them by the tail and rub them completely backwards sometimes. You know what I mean? Like I want to get under their skin a little bit and say, wake up. We can't keep doing what we're doing. We can't keep on spending like there's no tomorrow and the checkbook is bottomless. We just can't keep doing that. And I mean, that's kind of what I want. I want somebody who's going to stand up there and give the hard truths. It's one of the reasons I've liked what Bernadette has been saying so far, because again, she said, if I'm only a one-term governor, so be it. If I don't get the majority of the votes in the primary, I'll step out. I mean, she's saying all the right things. Now I want to know, how do we make, and this would be a question that I want to ask every candidate, once they give me their vision for where they want the state to be, okay, how do we get there? Because that's part of the problem is, how do we get from where you want? Because talk is easy. We've seen that. Governor Dunleavy promised this full PFD and did it, but how are you going to get there? No answer. He just put it in the budget. Now it's on the legislature. That's not how it works. All right. We got to go. The Michael Duke Show, Common Sense Radio, back with more. Okay. What? All right. I don't know what Jeannie's. There's something going on in the chat room here about, I guess it's about Justin Ruffridge. Is that what this is about? I don't know exactly what's. I'm sorry. I'm trying to scroll back here. Tilton shoved the whole Justin thing under the rug. I don't know what the whole Justin thing was. That she's necessarily referring to. But Gail goes on to say, Kathy ended the whole freshman caucus deal with Justin. Why do you think Justin rallied against Kathy for minority leader and pushed for Mia, who's far easier for Justin to manipulate? Agreed. I just feel like there should have been consequences for humans. Childlike behavior does not belong in the halls of government. Boy, there's some juicy stuff going on here. I don't know what's going on. A hard right Republican doesn't need to stir the pot. They need to lead the party to solidarity. Though I can 100% get behind that, Jeannie. 100%. 100% for strategy. A good scout. Oh, this is Kevin. A good scout does not abandon his position without an adequate replacement, says Kevin. That's kind of what I'm saying, right? Do you give up where you're at? You know, do you give up where you're at and lose that position for the possibility of another one? I don't know. This is an interesting position. Is Shelley pro-abortion on her votes? No. They have to have a strategy. I'm just seeing. I was looking for somebody said hide the weenie is not a strategy. Anyway. Frank said the governor putting full PFDs in the budget and giving it to the legislature is one way if it does work. Well, yeah, but that's the problem. You knew it wasn't going to happen. This governor should have known that he's going to pass that to the legislature and they're immediately going to cut it. He's got to give them a path to getting that full PFD. He's got to show them the way in his budget. That's the problem. That was what the problem was. So is Congressman Begich ever going to be on the show? Yes, he's going to be on the show soon. TM. Are attacks on Treg Taylor being done to take him out before he even announces? Is it being done by the left? Is it being done by the rhinos, other candidates, or mainstream media? I don't know about attacks, unless you're talking about the must-read articles that we've been discussing. I mean, again, I have more questions about anything other. I mean, I've got more questions than those things answered at this point. Chris says, if you were to bet, who do you think the next governor will be? Oh, man. That's a big crystal ball. Based on who's in right now, name recognition. I don't know. Shelley's got a good shot. I'm not saying that she doesn't have a good chance at being governor. I'm just wondering if that's the right tact. I mean, I think Dahlstrom, again, name recognition from the first couple races is there. I don't think Click Bishop excites many people other than the labor unions. He might have a good shot with the labor support. Bernadette, I think, is the top running dark horse. But yeah, I mean, I think Shelley's, if it is Peltola, that will be interesting for sure. But and Hialala and Parker, again, they don't have the name recognition or the reach on this. So I don't know. I will say that I think the top 4 vote getters right now on the Republican ticket would be Hughes and probably Click Bishop. That would probably be the top 4. There we go. All right. Let's see. Oh, we're 30 seconds out. I guess we're going to rejoin. Let's do this. The Michael Duke Show, common sense, liberty-based, free thinking radio. Here we go.
buddy, put that thing back in its holster. We haven't gone anywhere.
I don't understand.
Check out the MichaelDukesShow.com for information on how to get access to the podcast.
Welcome to the party, pal.
The Michael Dukes Show.
The greed and the entitlement is astounding to me.
What more could you want from a low-budget radio program?
This is a dumpster fire.
That was just BS.
It is time to get a new perspective.
We know just what you need, and we've got just the cure. Open wide and prepare for a steaming hot cup of freedom.
I just don't fathom it.
The Michael Dukes Show, streaming live across the world.
Live around the world on the internet at michaeldukeshow.com and across the state of Alaska on this, your favorite radio station and or FM translator. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the program. It is the Monday edition of the show. I hope you had as gorgeous a weekend as we did here down on top of the world in beautiful Homer, Alaska. It was just gorgeous, and looks like today is going to be another scorcher. Woo, baby. It's going to be a good one. Anyway, welcome back to Monday. We've been hitting a lot of the headlines surrounding the gubernatorial race. For those of you who didn't hear, last Thursday night, Shelley Hughes announced that she is now running for governor, and that she has thrown her hat in the ring, and she is now jumping into the fray here 13 months before the primary, which is next. The primary is next August for the gubernatorial race, and that makes seven candidates on the Republican side. And then, of course, on Friday, Adam Crum, the commissioner of the Department of Revenue, put his resignation in to be resigned from his position as of August the 8th. And then, of course, made some kind of cryptic comment about we'll be making a big announcement on the 8th. And, of course, it's been rumored for months that he was going to be running for the governor's race as well. So then there will be 8. And then, of course, Treg Taylor has been out and about doing meetings and meet and greets and things like that. And it's predicted that he, of course, will jump in. So that will be 9 different candidates. And so far, the Democrats have only got, I guess they've got 1 candidate in there. Well, no, they've actually got 2. Click Bishop. Click Bishop is really technically, because, I mean, Click checks all the boxes, right? Click checks all the boxes when it comes to, labor, the labor unions, the NEA, the native groups, the social support, and I mean that he checks all the boxes. So he is definitely going to get a lot of cross-platform support. So maybe you could count Click as the vote for, maybe you could count Click as the vote for the Democrats. Maybe, he is the Lisa Murkowski of the state legislature at this point. Maybe that's what we do. In the chat room here, Chris had asked the question. He's like, so who do you think, if you were to bet, who do you think the next governor will be? And that's a tough one. I mean, with 9 candidates, potentially 9 different candidates out there, it's tough. But Ben Carpenter, he probably sums it up in the best way. He said, whoever locks up support of the labor union, the education lobby, the Alaska Native support, and whoever promises to keep the money flowing. That he's not wrong, right? He's not wrong. That could, because it's all about keeping the money flowing. Now, again, in my heart of hearts, what do I really want? I want a disruptor. I want somebody who's going to go in there and make a mess and call out the bad behavior, the bad spending practices, who's basically going to say, you can't keep doing this. I think Bernadette's position on, changing the way that we budget, zero-based budgeting, changing the way that we attract. I mean, I think that's all great stuff. Now, again, there's a lot of talk. I just want to figure out, how do we get there from here? I want whoever is running to explain to me how they're going to get from point A to point B on these issues. That's what I want. How do we get from point A to point B? You talk the talk, but now we got to walk the walk. Show me, walk me through how we're going to get there. And if I could find a candidate that could give me a good, solid plan for how we get back to a full statutory PFD, how do we reduce the size and scope of government? How do we if I could get a candidate that could walk me through that in a way that makes sense, this would be, this would be awesome. But as of right now, we don't have a lot of that. And of course, it's early days. It's early days in the campaign. And we don't know quite yet who's going to be where, but we'll see. I guess we'll see. But with up to 10 Republican candidates and so far one Democratic candidate, I don't know. And of course, the speculation as to whether or not Mary Peltola will jump in late is a whole nother ball game. And what it'll end up doing, of course, is if the field remains the way that it is right now, we'll go through the jungle primary, and what we'll end up with, and just say hypothetically that Mary Peltola, throws her hat in the ring, then what we would have is that we would probably have a four-way split, and it would be probably Peltola, Shelley Hughes, Nancy Dahlstrom, and then maybe Click Bishop or Bernadette Wilson. I think that's where it would be, the four-way race. Now, it would be super interesting if it was a Click Bishop versus Mary Peltola in that same top four, because now you've got a vote split going on there in some ways. But I don't know. It's just, again, too early to tell. Maybe Mary is going to be Click Bishop's lieutenant governor. Oh, Katie bar the door. That would be a hot mess. Wow. Boy, thanks for putting that in my head. It's going to be well, if nothing else, this will be an exciting time. Again, Adam Crum stating, and I did. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, the guys, that for those of you just joining us here in the 7:00 hour, good morning and welcome. But also, the phone lines are open at 319-527-3864. 319-527-3864. So tell me, any of you out there who are listening, which of these candidates excites and interests you? Nancy Dahlstrom, Click Bishop, Bernadette Wilson, Edna DeVries, Matt Hyalala, James Parkin, Adam Crum, Treg Taylor, or Shelley Hughes? Which one of those is exciting to you? Any of them? Again, somebody asked me the other day I said, well, my front runner right now is Bernadette Wilson, because I like what she's saying. But the question is Is there a plan to get from what she's saying to make it a reality? And that's what we get caught up in a lot of the times. We get caught up in the rhetoric of this is what they said. Okay, great. That's what we can all say a lot. But how do we get there from here? Is there a plan? And hope is not a plan. Boy, I hope we got to do that. Well, me too. I mean, but I also hope that it rains lollipops and chocolate drops from the sky. Turns out it wasn't chocolate. Turns out it wasn't chocolate drops. Look like chocolate drops, not chocolate drops. That's what we keep running into, right? 319-527-3864. So 9 candidates potentially, with if we add Adam Crum in there and Treg Taylor, 9 candidates potentially. And 1 on the Democrat side, so 10 candidates overall, and we're 13 months out. Where do we go from here? Would I have been excited about somebody just messaged me. Would I have been excited about a Mike Shower running for governor? Yes, I would have. Because again, I think what we need in a governor, more than anything else, more than expertise, we need leadership. We need strong leadership. Somebody that's not afraid to grab the bull by the horns and do what needs to be done. That again can call out bad behavior, can call a spade a spade. That's what we need. I would have been excited about that, but that's just not in the cards. There's not in the I know people keep asking me. There's just not in the cards. I mean, it'd be a good way for him to get out of the Senate and then not return, but it's just not in the it's just not in the cards, right? I mean, would you give up a job making, because at least as a legislator, he could still work his job, right? Now, granted, he's off for 4 or 5 months during the session, but the rest of the time he's working. But if you're governor, you're governor. Would you give a job? I mean, I don't think the governor's job probably pays but half of what he's making. So would you give that up when you're close to retirement? I mean, I probably wouldn't. Anyway, all right, we got some other news as well. The big news from Friday, I guess it was, is that the Trump administration is now started to allow some of the federal funding that it had heretofore been kind of sitting on and sequestering, that they're going to start dispersing some of that. And that has that's the school districts united. They all rejoiced over that. But then there's this piece that I want to read to you here that gets a little bit behind the scenes on this. There's an opinion piece from a couple of the Fairbanks School Board members that it gives you a peek into the mindset of what's going on inside, I think, our school boards, and as part of it, kind of outlines part of the problem we're having with education here. So we're going to get into that here in just a moment. We'll continue in just a second. Don't go anywhere. The Michael Duke Show, common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. We'll continue in just a moment. We'll be back right after this. Don't go anywhere.
Listened to by more staffers in Juneau than any other show, because their bosses told them to. And after what they just heard, oh man, they're going to be pissed.
You're a bad, bad man.
The Michael Duke Show.
Okay, let's see. Anthony says, I'll run for governor. Screw it. My motto is going to be nobody's happy, so it's working. I'm going to block literally any spending whatsoever and commit political suicide by forcing the government to actually work with the money we have, which is none. Time to get creative. I could support that, Anthony. I could support that. That's disruptive enough for me. You know? That's called conflation, Harold. It's intriguing to blame the teachers during times of political and economic demise. Who blamed the teachers? You're the only one that brought the teachers up. And nobody ever said education was bad. I would argue that bad education is bad. Or the way that we're doing education now is bad. Education in and of itself is not bad. We need to do it well. See, you're the one that keeps conflating the criticism of the current educational system as a criticism against teachers. It's not. Teachers are very necessary. All right. Seeing Harold so strenuously object to Mike Shower is the best endorsement he's had today. Yeah. Let's see. Kevin says Bernadette has the most energy momentum in her campaign. Yeah. Willie says Peltola sold her house in Bethel. She's alienated a lot of native votes with her lawsuit over Buzzy's death due to his judgment, and Trump is kicking butt. Okay. Oh my gosh. David says, what's this here? Fattery said, you first must list an exciting name for me to be excited, Michael. Yeah. David says his platform, full PFD, K-12 ed reform, full audit of nonprofits, audits of every department, IG, False Claims Act to reward whistleblowers, Medicaid reform, perform balanced budgeting. Okay, David, are you announcing? Is that what you're doing? You're announcing your campaign for governor now? I mean, that's a solid platform. Now, how do we work it? That's, how do we get there from here? Kevin agreed with my comment about the disruptor. He said, I agree, but a disruptor will not get elected in Alaska. If they don't get taken out by their own people trying to hold them accountable, they will not be able to garner the non-Republican vote. Well, maybe, possibly. Anthony was also talking about, I'm sorry, I saw Anthony's comment. It was a Firearms Friday comment. It's way back there. I know traditionally firearms talk is for Fridays, but since I like all of you and don't want you to be harmed, I strongly advise you removing any SIG P320s from your playlist until further noticed. Some interesting developments this weekend. Yes, definitely. SIG has done nothing but shoot themselves in the foot. I mean, not to be too punny, but shoot themselves in the foot. I just don't see how this is going to be a big one. They could have taken care of this, but they didn't want to. They wanted to instead blame everybody else. We'll be watching all this here as we go through. Okay. All right, we gotta get back to it. Here we go. The Michael Duke Show common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. Like, share, subscribe, ring the bell. Let's do this thing.
The Michael Duke Show. Seriously humorous with a pinch of intellect. Sorry. That is humorous. Here's Michael Dukes.
Okay. Phone lines are open. If you want to sound off on any of the... I read off all those list of names and people were like, ugh. Is there a none of the above option? All those lists of names for governor, and nobody is excited about any of the names being floated out there. 319-527-3864 is the phone number. 319-527-3864. If you want to sound off, I'd love to hear what you have to say about this. Give us a ring and tell me, who you're excited about for governor and why. Who you're excited about for governor and why. I was just trying to remember who the candidate, because there was one candidate that got announced, right? There was one candidate that got announced for the the Democrats. They wanted to run for governor. And I'm trying to remember what the name was of the person. Because it was somebody that I'd never heard of. I want to say it's somebody from Fairbanks. Correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody throw me a bone in the chat room if they can remember who it was that threw their name in the ring. I think Must Read announced it, but I can't remember. I can't find the story. 319-527-3864. Let's go over to the phones and see what you have to say on this as well. We'll get started and see where we're at. Good morning. Who's this? Oops. Let me actually do this the right way. Good morning. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Mike. This is Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Long time no talk.
Oh, long time no talk for sure. What's on your mind, sir? What are your thoughts?
I am fully endorsing Shelley Hughes, and here's the reason why. Is that I've supported her when she was representative, senator, and now for governor. She's got a track record. She knows she's firm, she's solid, she's got good, solid principles, but she knows how to work with people without stepping across that principle line. Now, what you were talking about earlier is, we've been having a disruptor or anything like that. The problem is going to be if we don't have the House and the Senate in the conservative camp, i.e., a solid Speaker of the House that's conservative with people like Ruffridge and those characters gone, and if we can get back that Senate and getting rid of the people like Bjorkman and those guys, and we got a solid we can get a lot done. The only other thing, if they don't, then whoever's governor, hopefully Shelley, would end up, and it'd be the veto pen, and just nail them. And if that means government doesn't go anywhere, hey, a bad bill not being passed is just as good as a good bill being passed.
Right. Well, look, I agree that she's got a good, solid track record. I like her for a lot of that. My big question again becomes, who takes her place, Mike? That's one of the bigger questions for me, especially with the makeup of the Senate right now. Seeing that whoever takes her place has to be
that's easy.
Has to be approved. Okay, so who is
Kathy Tilton?
Kathy Tilton. You think Kathy Tilton is going to get the nod from the rest of the senators as well?
That's simple. Yeah. I can't see anybody but Kathy taking her spot.
Well, it's
now here's the big question is that if Shelley comes doesn't do this next session and the governor has to appoint, now will Kathy Giesel then turn around and pull the same stunt that she pulled with Larry Shaw? Therein lies that's a kind of a twist that we have to be concerned with. But Kathy Tilden, I would be 100 million% behind being appointed as senator for this coming year.
Right. Well, I mean, that would be, I mean, to me, I guess that would be, she would definitely be a solid choice, I think, to replace her. And it would be easier to get a House member appointed and confirmed in the House. I would hope that Shelley is not always as strident as I'd like her to be. And what I mean by that is she sometimes doesn't want to be, somebody said soft spoken. I don't think sometimes she doesn't want to offend, but what we really need is a governor who's willing to call the balls and strikes, call to offend when it's necessary. Don't you think?
She will. She has. I mean, do you remember back, what was it? About 2-3 years ago, Matt Clayman was pulling there was a bill. I can't remember exactly what it was. When Shelley comes on, he might ask her about it. But Clayman was pulling a bunch of stuff. Her and Mike Shower went in there and just ripped him a new one. And he had to back off really fast. You don't want to cross that lady. She doesn't come across as mean or anything. Never has. And yes, she is soft spoken. But when she starts whispering, or she has a certain tone in her voice, you don't want to get in her way. Just that simple.
It's just that simple, says Mike. Okay. Well, I mean, that's what I asked for. I asked for who do you support? And, and so this is a candidate that you're excited about, Mike, right? This is, of all the lists of names that I read out there, this is the one that you're excited about.
Yes. Now, the other thing too is Shelley and Bernadette have both said that if they don't win the jungle primary, whoever would, if Shelley gets it, then Bernadette will drop out. If Bernadette gets the jungle, Shelley would drop out. They've both have publicly said that. So it wouldn't be a Shelley Hughes and Bernadette and Click Bishop and Batola. It would be, it would be one of the two.
So in a hypothetical, then let's just say it was, let's just say it was Shelley and Peltola, and then Click Bishop because he's got the name recognition, and then how does that race turn out? Do you think that, and then Dahlstrom maybe, I guess it would be the top four. So how does that turn out in the end in your mind? Is that a walk away for Shelley?
Okay, so that would basically be like what we did getting Nick Begich in. So Nancy Dahlstrom, last I've heard, I don't know anybody that likes her. I think she would be knocked out first round without even breathing hard. She has no support. So if it comes down to then, the top three then are Shelley, Patola, and Click. Patola and Click just cancel each other out. So what that would be doing is just exactly what we did with Nick. Let them eat themselves, and then that way we win.
Okay. Well, Mike, we'll see what other people think. I appreciate you giving me your thoughts on this. And again, I want leadership, and so, I'm willing to take anybody who's going to be a leader and be strong. And, Shelley may talk behind the scenes, but again, what I'm looking for, and I'll be sure to ask her this when she's on the program. I want her to call things out as governor. We need somebody to call stuff out from the head of the boat. You know what I mean? To say, hey, this is wrong and that's wrong, and we need to fix it. And
agreed.
And that's what I'm hoping to see. Maybe she's just been quiet because she's been in the House or in the Senate and hasn't wanted to offend or something. But I want somebody who's going to be strong and strident on that stuff.
She will be.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate you calling in. Appreciate you being part of the program today. 319-527-3864. 319-527-3864 if you want to sound off. I mean, were any of those names exciting to you? any of them. Mike likes Shelley. Like I said, as of right now, and again, I haven't spoken to Shelley or Hailala or James Parker, but of the ones that I have, again, Bernadette is just the front runner on the talk component. I want to see where the walk is going to go. That's what I want to see. Where is the walk going to go? What does this mean for us moving forward? And we'll see if we can get Mayor Edna DeVries on. She's another good name, who I think is a good, strong potential candidate. But we'll see. We'll see. And will they make the same commitment that and I'm happy to hear that Shelley made the same commitment that Bernadette did, is that if they don't win the jungle primary, then they'll back out of the race. I mean, I appreciate that. And we already know that Dahlstrom has made that choice once. I don't know if she'll commit to doing it again, but if she does, then I mean, I would definitely support that. I think that's one of the things that all the Republicans should do at that point is if they can't get into the top one, if they can't get into the top, and especially if they're miles behind, then I would be like, will you drop out? Will you back out so that we don't get trapped in this ranked choice voting problem that we had before? And so that'll be the other question that we ask all the candidates as well. I don't expect that Click Bishop will appear on the program, but we'll see. I'll reach out to them all. But again, and then again, Adam Crum and waiting in the wings, and potentially Treg Taylor as well. So up to 9 candidates on the Republican side of the ticket. Whew. May you live in interesting times. It's not just a fortune cookie. It's a way of life around here. That's exactly what we're facing right now. It's not just a fortune cookie. All right. We're going to go early because I've got things that I want to talk about on the other side. I want to get into this letter from the Fairbanks School Board members, because I think it unleashes and gives us a peek behind the scenes into the mindset of a couple of these school board members and where I think some of these school boards are going. We're going to continue the Michael Duke Show, common sense, liberty-based, free thinking radio.
If you missed the show, you can listen to it on your time with Dukes on Demand. Oh, and it's free. Like America used to be. Streaming live every weekday morning on Facebook Live and MichaelDukesShow.com.
Okay. Let me see what else you guys are talking about here. Let's see. Shelley was the reason that SB 91 was passed. She was one of the most vocal proponents for repeal. I don't remember did she vote for it in the beginning? She may have. But I know she was one of the more vocal proponents for repeal of that. How about a governor? David said, how about a gubernatorial candidate from outside the state? Dan Bongino. That would be interesting. He is a little busy though right now. He is a little busy. Let's see. TR, I'm not sure that Shelley was a big player in SB 91 or a co-sponsor, but the sponsor was a D. I can't remember his name, but he was a Democrat from Anchorage and in bad health, so he retired. I think it was Bill. Was that? I don't remember. I can't remember. Okay. We need a governor, says Chris. We need a governor that can keep campaign promises instead of overlooking what they promise the people of the state. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Let's see. I'm scrolling at. Shortly after Shelley voted yes on SB 91, she regretted her vote and reversed it quickly, then stood strong on the repeal. Okay, I remember she was one of the most vocal people about the repeal of it. So that was the part that I remember. Anthony said, we need a governor who's willing to pay FCC fines and tell people what's up. Yes, I agree. I agree. All right. Kim says, yes, Shelley is a yes lady, and I can't see her as a strong enough candidate, not disruptive enough. Again, she is very nice. She's a strong conservative, but again, I think sometimes you need to grab the reins and pull back hard. You know what I mean? Pull back hard on every one of those. There we go. Okay. How about a governor that promises a full PFD? Well, I mean, you could promise all day long, right? Wish in one hand, something in the other. I mean, that's where we're at. We got all the promises. How do you make it happen? Do me the math on how you make that happen. Because they're spending a huge part of the PFD already, and they baked it into continuous spending. So the minute that you put together a full PFD and then put all that in there, then you've got a deficit, which is exactly what Don Levy did this last time. Right? I mean, that's exactly what you ended up with this last time, with no plan on how to get there. His plan is, I'll put the full PFD in the budget, creating this huge deficit because I'm not actually cutting anything else to show how to pay for the PFD. And then we just leave it to the legislature, and the legislature is just going to cut the PFD. That's what they're going to do. I mean, that's where we're at. Bill just said, Anthony, I'll run for governor with you. Our press conferences will be amazeballs. Could you imagine an Anthony and Bill ticket? Oh, man. I mean, I would pay money to see that. Absolutely. That would be awesome. Absolutely awesome. Okay. Click Bishop's platform, says David. Increase pay for government employees. BSA increase of at least $2,000. Full PFD and even more. Increased Medicaid. A fish on every line and every net. Government, grocery stores, etc. That sounds a lot like what Click has been behind in the past. Not surprising. Yeah, but Melissa said, that's it. I'm voting for Bill Brock. He used amazeballs as a campaign platform. I think you should make that a slogan. Amazeballs. That's amazeball. I love that so much right now. Joel just says, I want amazeballs. Yeah. Definitely. Let's do it.
The Michael Duke Show. Not your daddy. Wait, sorry. Not your daddy? Ooh, not your daddy's talk radio. Whew. I was scared for a second. Thought we were going down. Here's Michael Dukes and the show.
Okay. Welcome back. One final segment of the show for this Monday. Bill is strategizing with Anthony in the chat room. and those are two of my big troublemakers in the chat room. And Anthony said he's going to run. He's going to make it a strong platform. He's going to do all this. And then Bill said that I'll run with you. He said our press conferences will be amazeballs. They'll be amaze. And then everybody's like, oh, we'll vote for him just for the fact that you're going to use a campaign slogan like amazeballs. That's going to be amazing. Or that's going to be amazeball. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. It's some great stuff. All right, let me get to the final story here that I wanted to quickly chat about. So the Alaska school districts are now celebrating because the Trump administration said Friday that it's going to allow federal funding to be dispersed. This was a lot of that educational funding that they had a funding freeze on, and there was school districts, the Fairbanks School District, the Anchorage School District, and the Cuspic School District they all filed that lawsuit. Of course, now they're taking a victory lap. The Anchorage School District sent out a message to families that basically said that its lawsuit had contributed to the decision to release the funding, which included $12 million for Anchorage schools, and I think it was $4 million for the Fairbanks schools, and 300,000 or something for Cuspic or whatever it was. Anyway, they're all excited about they're going to get their money after all. We're going to get our money. What I thought was interesting in this article is that they actually had some hard numbers in the end. Remember when Jarrett Bryant sent out that letter, how he was going to fight the power, he was going to fight the man, and but because of this, they had to cut, like 35 positions, yada, yada, yada. This is the best part. In the days after the funding freeze was announced, the Anchorage School District said that it had cut 34.5 positions. But then they had to go back later and said most affected staff had been reassigned to other open positions, but 5 people were laid off. So 35 positions. So 1/7 of the actual number of people who are actually being laid off. They had all those open. How many open positions are there in the Anchorage School District right now? If they had to defund 35 positions, and it only really affected 5 people in the end, how many open positions do they have? And now, of course, they're talking about going back and now reversing that because they're getting some of that money back. So don't worry. Nobody's getting laid off. Which leads us over to this opinion piece, which I got in the Peninsula Clarion, but I'm assuming was circulated around the state to other op-ed pages around the state, because it's from the Fairbanks, 2 Fairbanks school board members, Bobby Burgess, Buttgate, remember Bobby Burgess from Buttgate, Bobby Burgess and Morgan Dulane. And the headline reads, "Reform doesn't start with cuts." Okay, so just not to be too pedantic here, but I will just make a point that by vetoing one time $200 out of a $700 increase, that's not really a cut. You're still getting an increase. I just, again, don't want to be too, poignant, but I just want to point that out. And it just starts so strong. Governor Dunleavy is defying state law, the will of Alaskans on education funding. He's not defying state law. He has the right as a governor to veto items in the budget. That's how it works. He's not defying state law. The bill raises the base student allocation to $700. The governor's line item education veto disregards that funding requirement. Again, he has the power to veto. They have the power to override. It's not defying state law. That's like saying Governor Walker, by vetoing half the PFD. I didn't see Bobby Burgess or Morgan Dulane writing a reaching screed about Governor Walker defying state law by line iteming a veto, even though the funding was required by statute. I don't see them. No, it's not how it works. They go on to talk about the HB 57 and how they did all this kind of stuff and all this, the stakes are high. If the governor's veto stands, student across Alaska will suffer. Legislators must override this light on them to uphold the law. And then they go on to talk about how the budgeting process, this is something that I actually agree with them on, that the education budgeting process is broken. And that's the truth. Districts have to balance a budget before knowing what they're actually going to receive in funding. And part of that is on purpose. Part of that has been set up the way that it has been set up so that they can then use the public as a stalking horse to go in there and demand that the legislature give them even more. We've broken this down. We've talked about how this works. This is crazy. And then they go on to talk about two false narratives. Two false narratives. The governor claims we can't keep funding a failing system. And the other, Alaska is broke. We must choose between the PFD and education. Well, I don't think that's what the governor said, but he did say Alaska's broke, but he didn't say we had to choose between the two. This is the false dichotomy that a lot of people continue to put up. You have to choose one or the other. They continue to say that both of those are misleading and false. They said students are not failing. The government cites the NEEP as evidence of student failure, the National Assessment of Education Progress. But the NEEP data is limited. They didn't fail. We just didn't get enough tests. It tests only a small number of randomly selected students. Even though as a statistical, it's been used for years across the country. And it's not just some random small, but again, if the numbers don't match, then of course it must be the test that failed, not the students. They go on to talk about some incredible gains in reading, how they've jumped from 40% of students reading above the benchmark to where 63%. And students are far below the benchmark drop from 40 to 22. Okay, great. And this is all, of course, part of that read by 9 thing. I mean, all those things are going on. But they said they're not failing. It's increasing now because there was policy that went in. And see, that's the thing. They keep going on and on about how they don't want to put any policy and they just need the money and shut up. But then they point back to the one thing that increased their proficiency, which was the policy. And now they're saying, but students are not failing. But this was the key factor. And I see Larry's on the phone. We're going to get to Larry here in just a second. This is the key one. Alaska is not broke. That's what they say. Alaska is not broke. Alaska has abundant resources and a sovereign wealth fund that rivals those of nations. Sovereign wealth fund. Alaska has abundant resources and a sovereign wealth fund that rivals those of nations. The issue is not lack of money. It's the lack of political will. If our system can't support constitutional mandates like education, then it's a system that needs reforms. Lawmakers must diversify our economy and stop presenting a false choice between the PFD and education. We can and must do both. These are the people that are running your education system in your community, Fairbanks. We're not broke. No. I mean, we got a projected $1.5 billion deficit for next year, but we're not broke. We just lack the political will to spend more. These are the people that are running your education system. This is the kind of mental gymnastics you have to do to justify the things that they're standing for. We're not broke. We just haven't spent hard enough. We should spend harder. Anyway, you can go read this on the Peninsula Clarion or wherever else you find all these opinion pieces. I mean, this is madness. Let's go over to the phones. Larry's on the phone. Larry, what's on your mind? Or is it? Sorry, it's Bonnie. Bonnie, what's on your mind?
Hello?
Hello, Bonnie. What's going on?
Hello?
I can hear you, Bonnie. Go ahead.
Okay, yes. Come out to the Tanana Valley State Fair to sign the petition to get rid of the ranked choice voting, please. Every day at the fair, there's a petition if you want to come out and sign it to get rid of ranked choice voting. It would be a good thing to get rid of that, would it not?
Oh, I would agree. When is the fair, and are you at a booth there?
Yes, we are at a booth there every day of the fair. I can't remember the name of the building, but it's by the blue booth. As soon as you go through the blue booth and turn to your left, it's in the blue building. Now we're in there. Yes.
Okay, and that's going on
And
every
we're
day
in
of the
there
fair.
every day of the fair. I can't recall how many days the fair is open, but we are there every day. Somebody will be there to sign the petition. Yes.
Okay, well, the fair's open for a week, so it'll be a full week of signing. Come in, get your signature. If you haven't signed a petition yet to repeal ranked choice voting, now's the time to go do that. Okay. All right. Okay, Bonnie. Well, thank you. Appreciate you calling in and joining us this morning.
Thank you. Goodbye.
All right, bye. Okay. All right. So Tanana Valley State Fair up in Fairbanks. If you want to be part of it, it'll be we can do it. All right. Well, that's it, my friends. That's it for today. I mean, I got nothing further. All these gubernatorial candidates, I mean, at some point, I just want to. At some point, I just want to take a break from politics. You know what I mean? That's what it is. I just want to take a break from it. But no, we're 13 months out. Things are about to heat up. It's going to get hot and heavy between now and elections. I mean, heck, if I had one candidate on every month, I mean, I would have all but the next 9 or 10 months just, buttoned up right now, just with all the candidates that are there today. We'll have to see where this goes. Okay. All right. We gotta get out of here. Gotta get out of here. Thank you, my friends. I appreciate you guys being part of it. We will see you tomorrow. Be kind, love one another, and live well. The Michael Duke Show, Common Sense Radio. Okay. We gotta go. Oh, it's crazy. Crazy times. It'll be Bill and Tony's, thank you, Ben. Bill and Tony's Excellent Adventure. Bill and Tony's Excellent Adventure. That's what they should call their campaign. Bill and Tony. That would make a great deal. Although Anthony said we'd definitely be running on Rumble and be banned from YouTube. I can't wait to see what that's like. All right, my friends, we will see you guys tomorrow. Be kind, love one another, live well. The Michael Duke Show, common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. We'll see you then. Have a good one.
We've shed our terrestrial radio skin, and now we are slimy lizard internet people. It's the Michael Duke Show.